Hello there, it's Austin. So it's around St. Patrick's Day. It's about time that we brewed a dry Irish stout. Which seems a little bit like a misnomer considering it looks pretty liquid to me. But let's get started. We'll start by collecting 4.5 gallons of reverse osmosis water. Even if you don't have reverse osmosis water, standard filtered tap water can make a great dry Irish stout, and that's a result of the water additions that we'll be adding. Really turning up our ratio of gypsum to calcium chloride can give us that really dry mouthfeel that we're looking for. The fermentables that we'll be adding today is 2-row pale malt, flaked barley, and of course the star of the show, some black barley at around a 10% addition to get us that really dark flavor and rich creamy head. With all the grains milled together, including the flaked barley because I forgot to separate it out first, we'll add everything to the mash kettle and start our 60-minute mash at right around 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Right at the beginning of our mash is also a good time to take a quick mash pH reading, looking for a reading in between 5.2 and 5.5. At the conclusion of our mash, we'll pull the Anvil Foundry's handy grain basket out of the kettle and let the wort drain down through the grains, recirculating it a few times to kind of act as a natural filter and clear up our wort a little bit. This also gives us an excuse to enjoy the gorgeous colors coming out of this wort thanks to that 10% addition of black barley. The depths of dark browns and blacks as well as the aromas of coffee are definitely characteristic and iconic for this style of stout. With our recirculation step done, it's time to bump our kettle up to the boil setting and move it outside since it's starting to get a little warmer around here, or at least tolerable with a heavy jacket. Right as the wort is starting to show signs of boiling, I'm going to add in 1.75 ounces of East Kent Golding hops, looking to contribute some bitterness as well as spice to our final product. With around 5 minutes left in the boil, we get to add in my favorite ingredient to an Irish beer, Irish moss. This should help with clarity when it's all said and done, and although it might not seem like it, clarity is pretty important with a dark beer. With the wort cooled down after the boil, we'll transfer it over into my 5-gallon stainless torpedo keg that I'll be pressure fermenting, and then it's time to pitch the yeast. Today, that yeast will be White Labs WLP 004 Irish Ale. With my spunding valve set to 14 psi, I'll let the beer ferment for right around 10 to 12 days. Which in that time I got to watch some wiener dog racing on a hockey rink, which was a highlight. After the conclusion of fermentation, I'll transfer the beer over into my 2.6 gallon serving keg. 1 week of conditioning later, and just in time for St. Paddy's Day, the dry Irish stout is ready to pour and enjoy. Unfortunately, my house is not a pub and it's on the wrong side of the Atlantic, but a pint or two of this beer definitely feels like a good way to celebrate. So the dry Irish stout was popularized by someone that you may have heard of, Arthur Guinness, in the late 1700s. He signed an iconic 9,000-year lease on an old brewery that was brewing porters at the time to test out a new roasting technology that contributed more coffee notes to the dark beers known as porters at the time. By the late 1800s, the style had evolved to the dry Irish stout that we're more familiar with from Guinness today. And this version definitely holds true to the roasted coffee notes as well as the dry mouthfeel that you expect when you order a Guinness at the pub. It's really contributing that immediate creamy mouthfeel, which transitions to a roastier coffee flavor, and then finally just that dry feeling on the tongue that makes you want to drink a little bit more. It's definitely refreshing when you take a sip, even though it might be cheating a little bit, considering the last sip was probably the reason you were thirsty in the first place. I'm usually not the one ordering darker beers, but I do appreciate that this one is pretty low ABV at around 4% or so, and it doesn't make you feel too full. And importantly, it has that really rich, dark color that comes from those roasted malts that we used in the mash. So if you're looking for a good historical Irish beer to brew around St. Patrick's Day, you're in luck. The dry Irish stout is perfect for you. Cheers!